Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. Peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every woman fights battles no one else can see, not with the world, but within her own heart. Emotions rise, thoughts race, and in a single moment, decisions are made that can shape her life. Islam does not teach us to suppress our emotions. It teaches us to master them. Today, we will uncover powerful lessons that transform emotional reactions into spiritual strength, and ordinary women into women of dignity, control, and unshakable faith. Let us begin. Lesson 1. She pauses before she reacts. Emotionally weak. People react immediately. Emotionally strong women respond with intention. There is a powerful difference between the two. A reaction is instant, uncontrolled, and driven by ego or emotion. A response is thoughtful, measured, and guided by faith. The pause between feeling and action is where true strength lives. When anger rises in her chest, she does not allow it to take control of her tongue. When she feels disrespected, misunderstood, or ignored, she does not rush to defend her ego. When emotions burn inside her and her heart feels overwhelmed, she gives herself space before she speaks. That pause may be only a few seconds, but those seconds protect her from words she can never take back. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, "The strong person is not the one who overcomes others by strength, but the one who controls himself while in anger." This hadith completely changes the definition of strength. Strength is not about winning arguments. It is not about raising your voice. It is not about proving someone wrong. Real strength is self-control. Real strength is mastering your nafs when it wants to explode. An emotionally strong woman understands that anger is natural, but losing control is a choice. She knows that Shaitan loves moments of emotional intensity because decisions made in anger are often the ones we regret the most. One harsh sentence spoken in frustration can damage a marriage. One public outburst can ruin a reputation. One emotional message sent in haste can break a relationship beyond repair. She is aware that emotions are temporary, but consequences can be permanent. That is why her strength is not loud. It is controlled. She does not feel the need to prove herself in every situation. She does not chase the last word in every disagreement. She knows that silence in certain moments is not weakness. It is wisdom. When she pauses, she is not suppressing her feelings. She is disciplining them. She is giving her akal time to lead instead of her anger. This pause allows her to ask herself important questions. Is what I am about to say pleasing to Allah? Will this response bring peace or increase damage? Am I reacting from pain, pride, or sincerity? These questions protect her from becoming a prisoner of her emotions. Instead of allowing her anger to control her, she brings her anger under control. She also understands that emotions often exaggerate reality. In the heat of the moment, small issues feel massive. Minor mistakes feel intentional. Simple misunderstandings feel like deep betrayals. The pause gives clarity. Yet it allows the heart to calm down and see the situation for what it truly is. Many conflicts could be avoided if people simply paused before reacting. An emotionally strong woman remembers that Allah is always watching her behavior, especially in moments when she feels justified in reacting. Anyone can behave well when things are easy. True character is revealed when she is provoked. When she controls herself despite having the chance to lash out, she earns a reward with Allah that is far greater than the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument. She knows that dignity is preserved through restraint. People may forget what happened in a disagreement, but they rarely forget how someone made them feel. By pausing, she protects not only her relationships, but also her own inner peace. She refuses to let a temporary emotion steal her long-term tranquility. Over time, this habit of pausing transforms her personality. She becomes known as calm, wise, and mature. People feel safe speaking to her because they know she will not explode at every mistake. Her home becomes more stable. Her friendships become deeper. Her decisions become wiser. All because she mastered the space between emotion and action. Choosing silence before regret is not always easy. Sometimes it feels like swallowing fire. Sometimes it feels like losing. But in reality, she is winning the greatest battle, the battle against her own nafs. And every time she wins that battle, her strength increases. This is the first secret of emotionally strong women. They do not eliminate emotions. They master them. They understand that the pause is power. And in that small moment of control, they protect their honor, their relationships, and most importantly, their relationship with Allah. Lesson 2. She does not let feelings control her faith. One of the greatest signs of emotional strength in a woman is that her relationship with Allah is not controlled by her moods. She does not worship based on convenience. She does not obey based on motivation. She does not commit to her deen only when she feels spiritually high. Instead, her faith is rooted in discipline, sincerity, and consistency. Feelings are unstable. They rise and fall like waves. Some days she feels close to Allah, full of energy, hopeful, and spiritually uplifted. Other days she feels tired, distracted, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained. An emotionally weak person allows those fluctuations to dictate their worship. And if they feel inspired, they pray with focus. If they feel low, they abandon their acts of worship. If they feel hurt, they distance themselves from obedience. Their iman moves according to their emotional state. But an emotionally strong woman understands something powerful. Faith is not a feeling. It is a commitment. She prays even when she feels exhausted. She covers herself with modesty even when she feels insecure in a world that pressures her to seek validation. She lowers her gaze even when temptation is strong. She forgives even when her heart is wounded. She continues making dua even when she feels like her prayers have not yet been answered. She does not wait to feel ready to obey Allah because she knows that Shaitan often whispers through delay. There are days when her heart feels heavy, when sadness sits inside her chest and motivation disappears, yet she still stands on her prayer mat. Not because she feels spiritual, but because she knows Allah deserves her worship regardless of her emotional state. This is strength, this is maturity, this is sincerity. She understands that obedience is not always accompanied by emotion. Sometimes it is accompanied by struggle. Sometimes she prays through tears. Sometimes she recites Quran while battling distraction. Sometimes she fasts while feeling emotionally drained, but she shows up. And that consistency builds a type of iman that is far deeper than temporary inspiration. Many people confuse emotional highs with strong faith. They think iman is only strong when it feels intense. But the real measure of faith is what you do when you do not feel anything at all. When there is no motivation, when there is no excitement, when worship feels heavy. The emotionally strong woman continues anyway. She also understands that emotions can be deceptive. Sometimes sadness makes her question her worth. Sometimes anger makes her question her relationships. Sometimes loneliness makes her question Allah's plan. But she refuses to let temporary emotions rewrite eternal truths. She reminds herself that Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise, that His timing is perfect, that tests are not punishments but purification. When she feels distant from Allah, she does not run away in guilt. She runs back in repentance. When she feels spiritually weak, she increases her effort instead of abandoning it. She knows that Shaitan wants her to think, "You are not good enough to pray right now," or "You are too sinful to return." But she understands that this is a trap, so she pushes forward, even if her steps are small. An emotionally strong woman also separates feelings from facts. She may feel unloved, but she knows Allah loves those who are patient. She may feel alone, but she knows Allah is closer to her than her jugular vein. She may feel unseen, but she knows that every tear shed in secret is recorded. Her emotions do not redefine her reality. Her faith defines her reality. She realizes that discipline protects her when motivation disappears. Just as the body needs routine to stay healthy, the soul needs consistent worship to remain strong. She builds habits that do not depend on how she feels. She prays on time, whether she feels peaceful or anxious. She makes dhikr whether she feels hopeful or afraid. She keeps her standards of modesty whether she feels confident or insecure. This is not because she is emotionless. She feels deeply. She cries. She struggles. She gets tired. But she refuses to let those emotions disconnect her from Allah. Instead of saying, "I will pray when I feel better," she says, "I will pray so I can feel better." Instead of saying, "I will obey when my heart is ready," she says, "Obedience will prepare my heart." There is immense power in this mindset, because when faith is not dependent on feelings, it becomes stable. It becomes anchored. It becomes resilient against life's storms. Trials no longer shake her foundation completely because her obedience is not built on emotion. It is built on conviction. Over time, this discipline transforms her. Iman becomes steady rather than fluctuating wildly. Her connection with Allah becomes deeper because it was maintained through both ease and hardship. She begins to experience a different type of peace, not the temporary excitement of emotional highs, but the calm stability of consistent submission. This is the secret. Feelings change daily, sometimes hourly, but Allah does not change. His commands do not change. His promises do not change. An emotionally strong woman attaches herself to what is constant, not what is temporary. She knows that if she follows every emotion, she will become unstable. But if she follows revelation, she will become grounded. And in that grounding, she finds true strength. This is why she does not let her feelings control her faith. She lets her faith guide her feelings. And that is what makes her emotionally powerful, spiritually resilient, and deeply connected to Allah in every season of her life. Lesson 3. She understands that emotions are a test. One of the most powerful shifts in the mindset of an emotionally strong woman is this: she does not see emotions as accidents. She sees them as tests. Just as wealth is a test, poverty is a test, health is a test, and hardship is a test, emotions are also part of the examination of this dunya. Many people think tests only come in visible forms like loss, illness, or failure. But some of the most difficult tests are invisible. They happen inside the heart. They are the battles no one else sees. The surge of anger, the pull of attachment, the sting of jealousy, the weight of sadness, the excitement of desire. These internal waves can shape a person's destiny if they are not handled with awareness. An emotionally strong woman understands that not every emotion should be trusted. Just because something feels intense does not mean it is right. Just because her heart leans towards something does not mean Allah is pleased with it. She knows that feelings are real, but they are not always reliable guides. Love can be a test. She may feel deeply attached to someone, but she asks herself whether that attachment brings her closer to Allah or pulls her away from Him. She does not allow love to blind her principles. If a relationship compromises her modesty, her prayer, or her dignity, she recognizes that the emotion itself is part of the test. Will she follow her heart blindly, or will she follow her deen? Anger is a test. When someone hurts her, it disrespects her, or betrays her trust, the anger feels justified. It feels powerful. It feels urgent. But she understands that the real test is not whether she feels anger. The real test is what she does with it. Will she allow anger to push her into dhulm, harshness, or revenge? Or will she control it for the sake of Allah and earn reward instead of regret? Jealousy is a test. In a world where comparison is constant, it is easy to feel envy when others succeed, get married, achieve recognition, or receive blessings she has been waiting for. But instead of letting jealousy poison her heart, she reminds herself that risk is written. Allah distributes blessings with wisdom. She transforms jealousy into dua. She asks Allah to bless others and to grant her what is best for her. In doing so, she passes a hidden but powerful test. Sadness is a test. There are moments when grief feels overwhelming. Disappointment after disappointment can make the heart feel heavy. But she knows that sadness can either bring her closer to Allah or make her distant. She chooses to use her pain as a bridge, not a barrier. She cries to Allah instead of questioning Him. She seeks comfort in prayer instead of isolation from faith. Even happiness is a test. When life is going well, when doors open easily, when she feels admired or praised, she remains cautious. Will she become arrogant? Will she forget Allah? Will she attribute success only to herself? Emotional strength is not only about surviving hardship. It is also about staying humble during ease. An emotionally strong woman develops the habit of questioning her emotions before acting on them. She asks herself, is this feeling leading me toward obedience or disobedience? Is this reaction pleasing to Allah or just satisfying my ego? Am I acting from wisdom or from wounded pride? These questions create space between emotion and action. In that space, taqwa grows. She understands that Shaitan often works through emotions. He beautifies anger. He exaggerates offense. He magnifies small problems into major conflicts. He whispers doubts during sadness. He intensifies desire during moments of weakness. If she is unaware, she becomes reactive. But because she recognizes emotions as tests, she becomes alert. Recognizing emotions as tests also gives her perspective. Instead of drowning in a feeling, she observes it. She tells herself, this is a test from Allah. I can pass it. That shift transforms her from a victim of emotion into a controller of it, until she stops saying, I cannot help how I feel, and starts saying, I am responsible for how I act. She accepts that feeling something is not sinful. Islam does not demand that she become emotionless. She is allowed to feel hurt. She is allowed to feel attraction. She is allowed to feel anger. But Islam teaches accountability and behavior. The test lies in restraint, patience, and conscious choice. When she passes these emotional tests repeatedly, her heart becomes stronger. Just like a muscle grows with resistance, her soul grows with internal struggle. Each time she chooses patience over revenge, she becomes wiser. Each time she chooses modesty over desire, she becomes more dignified. Each time she chooses trust over anxiety, she becomes more peaceful. Over time, she begins to see patterns. She realizes that many of her biggest regrets in life came from unexamined emotions, words spoken in haste, decisions made in desperation, attachments formed without boundaries. But she also sees that her greatest growth came from moments when she restrained herself for the sake of Allah. This awareness gives her balance. She neither suppresses her emotions nor worships them. She acknowledges them, reflects on them, and then filters them through revelation. If an emotion aligns with obedience, she embraces it. If it leads toward harm, she resists it. Understanding that emotions are a test frees her from impulsivity. It grounds her. It gives her maturity. It protects her future. Most importantly, it elevates her spiritually. Because every time she chooses discipline over impulse, she earns unseen reward. Life will continue to present emotional waves. Love will come and go. Anger will rise and fall. Sadness will visit. Happiness will pass. But she remains steady because her anchor is not her feelings. Her anchor is Allah. This is the third secret of emotionally strong women. They do not allow emotions to rule them. They recognize them as part of their imtihan in this dunya. And by approaching them with awareness, taqwa, and self-control, they transform emotional challenges into spiritual elevation. Lesson 4. She guards her tongue. One of the clearest signs of emotional strength in a woman is not how loudly she speaks, but how carefully she chooses her words. She understands that the tongue is small, yet its impact is enormous. It can heal hearts or shatter them. It can build trust or destroy it. It can protect dignity or expose weakness. Because of this, she treats her words as a responsibility, not a weapon. An emotionally strong woman knows that the tongue is often the first place emotions escape. When anger rises, it rushes towards speech. When jealousy appears, it looks for expression. When hurt settles in the heart, it wants to spill out in complaint or insult. But she does not allow every feeling to pass through her lips. She places a filter between emotion and speech. She understands something many people learn too late. Words cannot be taken back. Apologies may be offered. Regret may be felt. But once spoken, words live in memory. A single sentence said in anger can echo in someone's heart for years. A sarcastic comment can slowly weaken a marriage. A public humiliation can permanently damage respect. Because she understands this reality, she is cautious. Guarding her tongue does not mean she is silent about injustice. It does not mean she suppresses necessary communication. It means she speaks with intention, not impulse. She does not speak just to release pressure. She speaks to bring clarity, benefit, or peace. When she is angry, she remembers that anger changes tone, volume, and choice of words. In those moments, the nafs wants dominance. It wants the last word. It wants to win. But she reminds herself that winning an argument is not the same as winning in the sight of Allah. Sometimes walking away protects more than staying and arguing. Sometimes lowering the voice is stronger than raising it. She understands that the tongue reveals character. Anyone can claim patience, but patience is proven in speech. Anyone can claim wisdom, but wisdom is heard in how they respond under pressure. When she is provoked and still chooses respectful words, she demonstrates maturity. When she is hurt and still avoids insults, she demonstrates strength. An emotionally strong woman also avoids speaking about matters that do not concern her. Gossip may feel light and harmless, but she knows it carries spiritual weight. Discussing someone's flaws behind their back may temporarily strengthen social bonds, but it weakens her standing with Allah. She refuses to trade her akhirah for momentary conversation. She also guards her tongue from constant complaint. This does not mean she never expresses pain. It means she chooses wisely where and how to express it. She does not broadcast every difficulty publicly. She understands that constant negativity reshapes the heart. And instead of magnifying problems with her speech, she seeks solutions or turns to Allah in private. There is also strength in knowing when to remain silent. Silence is not always weakness. Sometimes it is protection. In heated arguments, silence can prevent escalation. In moments of gossip, silence can signal disapproval. In situations of temptation, silence can preserve dignity. She is comfortable with silence because she does not feel the need to fill every space with words. She understands that the tongue can also be a tool of healing. Just as it can harm, it can uplift. She uses her words to encourage, to advise gently, to comfort, and to remind others of Allah. She compliments sincerely. She corrects kindly. She avoids sarcasm that humiliates. She understands that kind speech is charity. Guarding her tongue also means she does not expose her private matters carelessly. In a world where oversharing is normalized, she maintains boundaries. She protects the secrets of her home. She protects the weaknesses of her spouse. She protects her own vulnerabilities. Not everyone deserves access to her inner world. This discretion preserves respect and prevents unnecessary conflict. She also pays attention to her tone. Sometimes the words themselves are not harsh, but the tone carries arrogance or contempt. Emotional strength includes awareness of delivery. She strives to speak firmly when needed, but without cruelty. She communicates boundaries without humiliation. She expresses disagreement without disrespect. An emotionally strong woman knows that speech shapes relationships. In marriage, gentle words can soften even difficult situations. With children, patient words can build confidence instead of fear. With friends, honest but kind words strengthen trust. With parents, respectful words maintain blessing. She recognizes that her tongue influences the emotional climate of every environment she enters. She is also mindful of speaking when emotionally overwhelmed. If she is extremely angry or deeply hurt, she delays important conversations. She understands that timing matters. Addressing sensitive topics while emotions are unstable often leads to misunderstanding. She waits until her heart is calmer, so her words can be clearer and more constructive. Guarding the tongue requires constant awareness. It is a daily discipline. There will be moments when she slips, moments when she speaks too quickly. But instead of justifying her behavior, she reflects, repents, and improves. Growth comes from accountability. Over time, this discipline gives her a powerful reputation. People see her as trustworthy because she does not spread secrets. They see her as wise because she does not argue unnecessarily. They see her as mature because she does not speak from impulse. Her controlled speech becomes a source of respect. Most importantly, she remembers that every word is recorded. Nothing escapes accountability. Casual insults, private mockery, careless exaggerations, and harmful gossip are not forgotten. This awareness makes her cautious. Before speaking, she considers whether her words will testify for her or against her. Guarding her tongue protects her relationships, her dignity, and her peace. Many conflicts in life begin not with actions, but with words. By mastering her speech, she prevents many unnecessary wounds. This is not an easy path. In moments of anger, silence feels heavy. In moments of hurt, restraint feels unfair. In moments of gossip, exclusion feels uncomfortable. But she understands that long-term peace is worth short-term discomfort. In the end, her strength is not in how much she says, but in how wisely she says it. She chooses words that align with her faith. She avoids speech that feeds her ego. She speaks with purpose, not pressure. This is the fourth secret of emotionally strong women. They guard their tongues because they understand that speech is power. And when that power is disciplined, it becomes a source of honor in this world and reward in the next. Lesson 5. She puts Allah between her emotions and her actions. This is the highest level of emotional strength. It is not just about pausing. It is not just about discipline. It is about inserting consciousness of Allah between what she feels and what she does. That space between emotion and action becomes sacred. It becomes guarded. It becomes guided. An emotionally weak person moves directly from feeling to action. They feel anger, so they speak harshly. They feel attraction, so they pursue recklessly. They feel sadness, so they withdraw from responsibility. They feel excitement, so they overcommit without thinking. There is no filter, no reflection, no higher accountability. But an emotionally strong woman does something different. Before she acts, she remembers Allah. When anger rises in her chest, she does not immediately respond. She asks herself, if I speak right now, will Allah be pleased with my words? That single question slows her down. It shifts her focus from ego to accountability. She realizes that winning an argument is not worth losing reward. When she feels deeply attached to someone, she does not allow emotions alone to decide her path. She asks, is this relationship halal? Is it protecting my dignity? Is it increasing my closeness to Allah? If the answer is no, she is willing to walk away, even if her heart protests. She chooses obedience over desire. When she feels hurt by someone's actions, she remembers that Allah is Al-Adl, the most just. She does not rush to revenge or humiliation. She understands that justice ultimately belongs to Allah. This awareness calms her need to retaliate, and it replaces emotional chaos with spiritual stability. Putting Allah between emotions and actions means she constantly filters her reactions through taqwa. Taqwa becomes the shield that protects her from impulsive decisions. It becomes the light that guides her through confusing feelings. She understands that emotions can be intense, but Allah is greater than every emotion. His pleasure is greater than temporary satisfaction. His reward is greater than momentary relief. His displeasure is more serious than any worldly loss. This awareness reshapes her priorities. When sadness overwhelms her, she does not isolate herself from worship. Instead, she turns to Salah. She stands before Allah even when her heart feels heavy. She understands that emotional pain is not a reason to distance herself from the one who can heal her. Rather than saying, I feel too broken to pray, she says, I need prayer because I feel broken. When anxiety creeps into her mind, she makes dua before making decisions. She seeks guidance before taking steps. She trusts that Allah sees what she cannot see. This trust softens her fear. It reminds her that outcomes are written. She focuses on making choices that are pleasing to Allah, leaving results in His hands. Putting Allah between emotions and actions also protects her during moments of happiness. When she achieves success, receives praise, or experiences love, she pauses to thank Allah. She reminds herself that blessings are not permanent guarantees. They are trusts. Gratitude keeps her grounded. It prevents arrogance from entering her heart. She understands that the heart is unstable by nature. It changes quickly, when what feels right today may feel wrong tomorrow. That is why she does not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Instead, she anchors her choices in revelation. She asks herself what Allah has permitted and what He has prohibited. She measures her feelings against divine guidance. This mindset gives her incredible stability. People around her may react impulsively, chasing emotions and regretting consequences. But she moves carefully. She does not allow pressure, excitement, loneliness, or anger to push her into actions she will later regret. Her restraint is not weakness. It is wisdom. She also recognizes that accountability is individual. On the day of judgment, she will not answer for how intensely she felt. She will answer for how she acted. This awareness keeps her grounded. She may not be able to control every feeling that enters her heart, but she can control her behavior, and that is what she focuses on. Putting Allah between emotion and action requires constant remembrance. It requires building a strong relationship with Him during calm moments so that she can rely on that connection during storms. When her daily life includes dhikr, Quran, and consistent prayer, turning to Allah in emotional moments becomes natural rather than forced. Over time, this practice transforms her character. She becomes less reactive and more reflective. She becomes less driven by impulse and more guided by purpose. She becomes less dependent on people's validation and more concerned with Allah's pleasure. This does not mean life becomes easy. She still feels deeply. She still experiences heartbreak, frustration, excitement, and fear. But those emotions no longer dominate her. They pass through the filter of taqwa before turning into action. There will be moments when choosing Allah over emotion feels painful. Walking away from a haram attachment may hurt. Staying silent when insulted may feel heavy. Forgiving when wronged may feel unfair, but she understands that short-term discomfort can lead to long-term peace. Every time she chooses obedience over impulse, she strengthens her soul. She also finds that this mindset protects her from regret. Many regrets in life come from acting too quickly, speaking too harshly, loving without boundaries, or deciding without consultation. By placing Allah between feeling and action, she reduces the chances of damaging mistakes. Gradually, she experiences a different type of peace. It is not the fragile peace that depends on perfect circumstances. It is the steady peace that comes from knowing she acted in a way that pleases Allah. Even if outcomes are not what she hoped for, she finds comfort in knowing she made decisions with sincerity and taqwa. This is the ultimate secret of emotionally strong women. Their emotions do not disappear. They are refined. Their reactions are not suppressed. They are guided. Their choices are not impulsive. They are conscious. They understand that every emotion is temporary, but the consequences of actions can be lasting. They understand that Allah sees the struggle inside their hearts. And they understand that true strength is not controlling others, but controlling oneself for the sake of Allah. By placing Allah between her emotions and her actions, she elevates herself. She transforms ordinary feelings into opportunities for reward. She turns internal battles into spiritual growth. She becomes steady in a world of instability, and that is what makes her emotionally powerful, spiritually mature, and deeply anchored in faith. Before we end, remember this. Emotional strength is not about becoming cold. It is not about pretending you do not feel pain. It is not about suppressing tears or hiding your heart. It is about discipline. It is about awareness. It is about putting Allah between what you feel and what you do. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you grow. Every time you stay silent instead of speaking harshly, you rise. Every time you choose obedience over impulse, you win a battle that most people lose. The world will tell you to express everything. Yet Islam teaches you to refine everything. Your anger can become patience. Your sadness can become dua. Your love can become halal. Your pain can become elevation. This is how emotionally strong women are built. Not by avoiding emotions, but by mastering them for the sake of Allah. And remember, the woman who controls herself for the sake of Allah is never weak. She is protected, she is guided, she is elevated. If this reminder touched your heart, share it with a sister who needs strength today. Subscribe to the Eman Chapters for more reminders that build unshakable iman and emotional discipline. May Allah make you among the women who are soft in heart, firm in faith, and powerful in self-control. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.